Now let me go to the EC2 service, which we are going to discuss. EC2. EC2 is nothing but, so now IAM is nothing but identity and access management, where you can control the all the users and the permissions related stuff. Now inside my EC2 service, what we can do? So EC2 is nothing but elastic cloud compute. Elastic cloud compute. So elastic cloud compute, which is nothing but it will be helpful to create some servers. Suppose let's say maybe developers, they will create some code. Okay, so they will develop some application code. Finally, you are going to deploy that code in any one of the server. If it is on-prem, in your data center, you will go that and you will deploy. Suppose now we are going to manage a cloud, right? So means that we will create a server and we are going to deploy our application inside that server. So for that, we need to know how you will create some servers and all. So in AWS terminology, the servers, they will call it as instances. Suppose if you are working with any other cloud, let's say Azure or GCP, so they will call them as some different names. Maybe I think in GCP they will call them as virtual machines. Okay, in Azure they will call it as some different naming convention. But finally, all those are called servers only. So in AWS terminology, they will call them as instances. Okay. So whenever I'm saying that as an instance is nothing but a server that you need to remember. So now we will see how we are going to create a server. Okay, I'll show you one Windows server and at least in my AWS account, one Windows server how we can create and one Linux server how we can create. That part we will discuss. So first, as part of this cloud, if you want to create a server, either Windows or Linux, we need to have a key pair. Some prerequisites are there. If you want to create a server also, we need to have a key pair. Key pair is nothing but the combination of two keys actually. Pair is nothing but the combination of two keys, which is called public key and private key. Public key and private key. So means that whenever you have created a server, so you will link with that key. Okay, you will link with that key pair, one key pair. So you can create multiple key pairs inside your AWS account. But for our practice purpose, we will create one key, which is called our batch name, batch 11D. Now I'll just create one key pair, which is called batch 11D. Going forward, daily I'll use that key pair. Okay, so we can do that part. So it is mandatory just to log into the servers. Once you created servers, going forward, you have to log in. Means you need that key pair. Okay. So let me try to create a server. So if you go to the EC2 service, this is how the portal will look like. And there is a key pairs concept is there. You can see there is a instances. Instances is nothing but the servers which are running, zero. There is a key pairs is there. There are two key pairs are there. If you go to that key pair section, you can see for AWS batch 11 AWS course is completed last month. So for that I have created a key which is called batch 11A. Now I'm just going to create a key which is called batch 11D. Okay, so some test key like that, multiple key pairs I have created. Now I'm just going to create one more key pair which is called create a key pair. So the key pair name will be batch 11D, batch 11 DevApps. So just select these options as it is. There are two types of formats of the key that you can able to download, either .pem file or .ppk file. So let's select better we can select .ppk file directly. Okay, let's select this .ppk file directly. So let's click on create key pair. So one file will be downloaded which is called batch11d.ppk file. So don't provide .ppk while creating the key pair. Just you can provide some name. Maybe you can provide your name. Okay, but don't provide here .ppk kind of thing. Funny.ppk, something like that. They are trying to create like this. It doesn't require that you have to provide the extension over there. So below, just you can select the format. It will automatically add that extension. Okay. So just you can provide some name, whatever you want for your key pair. So now I have created a key pair with bash 11d. So it is given some extension called .ppk. We are going to use this key pair. This is nothing but actually, we are saying that key pair is nothing but two keys, right? Public key and private key. The key which is downloaded to our laptop is called the private key, and the respective public key will be kept with AWS only, Amazon only. So whenever you are linking this key pair with a server, so at the time, so inside the server, it will keep that public key content. If you want to see the content of this private key, so the downloaded one is called the private key. So if you want to see the content of that one, I think these type of formats. Let me go to download section. Just now we have downloaded. Just I'm trying to open with the notepad. See, this is how my private key pair looks like. Okay, so the content of the private key pair looks like this. This is not a simple password just to see and remember. Okay, if anyone log into the account, okay, sorry, if anyone log into the server which they have used this key pair, so they need this file actually. You have to supply this file. Now we will see how to create a server. And to connect that server, let's say I have created a Linux server. I'm just using my Windows laptop. So currently I logged in a Windows laptop, and there I'm just going to create a Linux server. So in order to connect to the server, we need a software that is called Putty. So from Windows laptop, if you want to connect to your if you want to connect to your Linux laptop, Linux server, which you are going to create, you need a software which is called Putty. So that you have to download. So how to download that one? I already downloaded that one. Just I'm showing how to download. So in the browser, just type putty download and just open the first link. And inside the first link, just click on this one. Download putty. Click here. Option is there, right? Let's click on that one. And if you are using your Windows laptop, so you can select this one. So putty.exe, and then 64-bit operating system. Currently I am using my laptop, so this one you can select. Suppose some old laptops and all, maybe they are using some 32-bit version, so at the time you can able to use this. You can click on this one, so that respective putty.exe file will get downloaded. If you click on that one, simply a putty.exe file will get downloaded. You can right click on that one and just click on run, so the putty will get installed in your laptop. So now it is already there. If you want, just search for that. See, putty.exe file is there. You can click on open. Just click on run. So it will open the port. It will open the putty configuration like this, where you have to provide the IP address, the username, and the key pair. These details it will ask to log into your server. Okay. So we will see that one. Once we created the account, how to log in and all, we will see. So now just I'm going to log into my instances page. See, inside my EC2 portal, there are actually lot of subtopics are there. These many subtopics are there. Uh, just now we have seen about key pairs, right? Which is available here. See, key pairs is there. If you go to that, you can see three keys which are available. Now I want to create a server which is called instances. AWS, they'll call the servers as instances. Let me go to the instances page. There are no instances. You do not have any instances in this region. So let me go and launch an instance. Click on the launch instances here or here. Means that you are going to create some servers. And while you are creating the server, there are multiple steps are there. Okay, there are multiple steps are there. Here you can see almost 7 steps are there. Choose AMI, choose instance type, configure instance, add storage. Like that, 7 steps are there. In each step, you have to do one thing. So first step, you have to select your operating system, OS. So whether you are creating a Windows server or Linux server, inside Linux, whether you are creating a Ubuntu server or Red Hat server or Amazon Linux server or CentOS or Fedora, Like that, you can select your operating system, but they will not call that as an operating system. Actually, that is an operating system, but they will have given some different name called Amazon Machine Image. You have to select that AMI. AMI is nothing but the operating system in our terminology, OS. The second step where I have to select the instance type. Instance type means how big my instance should be. Whether I want to have some CPU, let's say 8 GB CPU or 8 GB RAM machine I want. So that you can select in the second option. So you have the choice to select your CPU, memory, and the storage, hard disk. Let's say whenever you are purchasing your laptop, you will select all this configuration, right? How much memory or how much RAM I want for my laptop, how much is the hard disk, whether it is 1 TB or 500 GB, that we are going to select, right? Similarly, all those things that you have to select in the second step. Third step, how many number of instances you want, how many number of servers you want to create at a time, or what is the network information. There is a networking related information. So inside the AWS, there is a concept called VPC. There is a service called VPC that we are going to clearly discuss in the AWS class. Okay, inside that, all the networking stuff will be maintained. Okay, so that information we are going to select in the third step. And fourth step, let me select that fourth step, what it is. Yeah, storage. So in fourth step, we are going to select the storage. So by default, how much is the hard disk you want? Actually, hard disk we will not get over here. Hard disk we are going to select it over here. What is the storage that we are getting? Whether you want in our laptop case, whether we will select either 1 TB or 500 GB kind of thing. But in AWS, maybe we will select, suppose if it is Linux operating system, any kind of Linux, either it is Ubuntu or Red Hat or whatever it may be, we are going to get some 8 GB is the storage by default. If you are creating a Windows server, 30 GB is the default storage that we are getting. If you want to increase the storage, you have the flexibility in the fourth step. You can increase. Otherwise, some external hard disk also. Suppose whenever your hard disk storage of your laptop is not sufficient, what we will do? Some external hard disk we will purchase and we will store our data over there. Similarly, here also there is an external hard disk concept is there, that is called EBS. There is a external hard disk concept is there, which is called EBS. EBS is nothing but elastic block store. Elastic block store concept is there, that we can able to use this one. Okay. Currently it doesn't require up to that part. So but we can able to increase the existing disk size while creating the account, or if you don't want to disturb that one, where the operating system will maintain. Okay, suppose in Windows laptop, so C drive, usually we are going to put our operating system, and we are going to divide our remaining hard disk into multiple drives, right? Like D drive, E drive kind of thing. Similarly, in Linux or any other operating system, we can able to add multiple additional blocks, additional disks also. That is also possible. And in fifth step, where you are going to add some tags, I think. Yeah. So in fifth step, you are going to just provide some tags. Tags is nothing but some naming convention. Why you are creating that server, which environment it belongs to. Okay. All those things you can provide in the sixth step, fifth step. Sixth step, where you are going to select your security group name. Security groups. Security group name. Security group is nothing but, so which particular person can able to log into my account, which particular person can able to access which port. So all those things will be defined inside the security group. So in security group, there are two things are there. One is called inbound rules. One is called inbound rules. The other one is called outbound rules. If you doesn't understand any topic, feel free to stop me. Okay. because this is important to create a server in our DevOps course. Daily we are just log into EC2 and we will create a server. So that's why step by step I am explaining clearly. So, but while creating the server, just I will randomly select some operating system, some instance type, and I'll create like that. Step by step I'll create. So seventh step where just you have the review, where you can review all these details whichever you have selected, whether you want to change any details. Just in the seventh step you can able to select or you can able to change those details. And next it will provide the option to select your key pair. Finally, it will provide the option to select your key pair. These many things you have to select in order to create a server. So now let me select. There are multiple Linux operating system flavors are there, right? I told you already Ubuntu, Red Hat, kind of thing. So now I'm just going to create a server which is called. There is a Amazon Linux operating system is also there, which is like Amazon related thing. Amazon Linux. They also developed one Linux flavor. Suppose let's say I want to use Ubuntu. Okay. So now I'm just here. First step where you have the flexibility to select your AMI. Let me select Ubuntu here so that it will display all the Ubuntu related things. In Ubuntu also you can see Ubuntu 20 is there, Ubuntu 18 is there. Multiple versions of Ubuntu will display here. So now I'm just going to select this latest one, Ubuntu 20. Here you can select. Second option where you can select your instance type. By default, you will be selected with T2.micro, which is available in AWS free tier account. Other than this, if you use any other instance type, let's say if I select this one, you have to pay some amount. Automatically, you will be added some billing because which is not available in free tier. So only in free tier, this instance type you can select. So they will provide 1 GB of memory or 1 GB of RAM for this one and one CPU. So CPU is nothing but whenever you are purchasing a laptop, you will see either single core laptop or dual core or quad core. So like that, inside a laptop, multiple virtual CPUs will be maintained. Okay. So 111 is nothing but these all are called single core. Only one core will be maintained. 22 is nothing but all these servers has some dual core. Okay. Two cores are available. Like that 4, 8, 16 multiple things are there. But now as a practice purpose, we are going to select some basic one to avoid some billing. T2.micro. So let me select the third step. Third step, we are not disturbing anything. Okay. All the networking details. So it is automatically selected. Just we'll keep it as it is. And fourth step, see, we are creating a Ubuntu server, right? Ubuntu by default, it is a Linux. So Linux operating system category. So it will select some 8 GB automatically. If you want to increase this one, you can increase, but you can't decrease this one. So if you try to decrease this one, you will get some exception. Okay, but if you try to increase this one, that's okay. But we will proceed with the default one, that is 8 GB. Suppose let's say this 8 GB storage is not sufficient for my server. Here you can see there is a add new volume, means some extra disk. How we are purchasing some external hard disk and we are using, right? Similarly, this add new volume. So we can select whatever the size you want. Let's say some 10 GB extra I want or some 100 GB extra I want. That you have the flexibility, 1000 GB. So that you can do. Multiple disks you can able to attach it. Okay. So now just I'm proceeding with the default one. Just click on next. And here fifth step where you are selecting the tags. Tags are nothing but let's say my server name will be, there is a tag, default tag. We have to provide this name tag. Let's say Linux server. Okay. So just you can provide the name as Linux server and environment equals to, let's say this is a kind of test server I'm creating. So like that you can add multiple names. So some organizations, they will give these keys. So you have to use this name, you have to use this environment. Okay. So like this multiple values they will provide for any time. If you are creating a server, you have to use this that many tags. So that will be helpful to remember easily whether that by seeing the tags, whether that particular server belongs to which team and all. Let's say there is a team name they will specify. So that will helps to identify their team name. and the server name, etc. So sixth step, if you click on next, sixth step where you are going to create a new security group. So other than that, if you want to proceed with the default already existing security group, you can select this one. These many security groups which are already there, you can select whichever you want. Okay, but now I'm just going to create a new one, and the security group name I'm giving batch 11D Linux security group. So some description, what you are going to achieve with this. So some description, whatever you want, you can provide. And I told you, right, there are two concepts are there inside security group. Where is that? Let me. So inside security group, I told you there are inbound rules and outbound rules. Inbound rules are nothing but, so who can able to log into my server? Who can able to access my server? That you can able to specify under inbound rules. So outbound rules are nothing but from my server, which I am creating. So to whom, so external world, which and all IP addresses I can able to connect. Okay, which and all ports I can able to access. That things you can able to control under inbound and outbound. So here we are displaying some SSH. SSH is called one port, which will be helpful to log into your Linux server. Okay, there are some default ports which they have given some port number also. Total, we have some 65,536 ports are available. So among those, so SSH is some port which is called 22 port number, which will be helpful to log into your Linux servers. Linux servers to log in, this port will be helpful. Suppose from my laptop, if I want to log into that Linux server which I am creating, so I should allow this SSH port, the 22 port number, to my laptop IP address. Here at least my IP, I should allow. Then only I can able to connect to my from my laptop. I can able to log into that server. Suppose if I doesn't select anything, I can't able to log into the server. Suppose later also I can. Suppose for now just I'm creating a security group, but I am deleting that rule. We'll see whether we are able to log into the server or not. Okay. So let's click on review and launch. Later we will add that one. Yeah. Sorry. So seventh step actually, this is the seventh step where you can review the details. Review means, suppose let's say first step where you have selected your AMI, second step where you have selected your instance type, third step, something like that. All the details, whichever you have selected, you can edit whichever you want. So if you are okay with all those details, just click on select last on launch. And here you can select a key pair option. Whether you can create a new key pair. Suppose if you want to create a new key pair here, you can provide some name and click on download key pair. A new key pair will get created and will be downloaded that respective private key here. Instead of going and creating the key pair over there, you can create a key pair from here also. So I already created a key pair. Choose an existing key pair. I don't want to create a new key pair again and again. So I already have some key pairs. See, there are total 3 key pairs are there. I want to use this batch 11D. Just click on select checkbox, click on launch instance. My instance will be comes to running state. So you can go and see this view instances. So inside your instances page, earlier I don't have any instances, but now one instance is bringing up. So currently the status of that instance is pending, but within some time it will come to running state. Okay, we will wait for some time. And while you created this account, while you created this server, if you select that server, you can see the details of that particular server bottom. So some instance ID. For this instance, you will get some instance ID. And this is my instance name. And this is the public IP of the server. This is the private IP of the server. So what is meant by public IP and private IP? That is also required. Just you have to know that one. Public IP is nothing but if anyone already know, that is fine. If you don't know, just it is required going forward. Public IP and private IP. So public IP is nothing but that is unique actually. Okay, across the world, public IP will be unique. Suppose if someone got that IP, you will not get that IP at anywhere. Okay, that any other server, they will not get that same IP. But private IP is nothing but this will get repeat. It will works internally. So inside your network, it will work. So that suppose for my laptop, if I am getting a private IP, same IP may be given to your AWS account or some other company, maybe Wipro company or Infosys company or any other company, if they have created some server, they may get the same private IP which I have. Means that there is a range of IP addresses. There is a we already downloaded this putty, right? So let's delete this one. So IP address classes is there. These all are some prerequisites to DevOps. So whenever any IP which is starting from 0 to 260, sorry, 0 to 127, so usually the IP will be, we can divide the IP addresses into two categories. One is called IPv4 and IPv6. IPv4 is called some old pattern which they are defining. So which consists of four values actually. So XX, so like this they will define. So IPv6 is called some 64-bit format. This is I think sorry, this is called 32-bit format. This is called 128 or 64-bit format, but usually we are not using this one. Mostly we are going to work with IPv4 only in our DevOps course. Okay. So, but what are the values I have to select over here? Usually you can select any value which is between 0 to 255. In the four places, you can select whatever the value you want. Suppose if I am selecting 10 dot, some 20 dot, some 30 dot, some 40, this is an IP address. So 255 dot, 255 dot, 255 dot, 255. This is one IP address. 0 dot, 0 dot, 0 dot, 0. This is one IP address. 1 dot, 1 dot, 1 dot, 1. This is one IP address. 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4. So something like that, you can form multiple IP addresses actually. So, but it is the minimum value 000. This is the minimum value, and this is the maximum value 255.255. You should not use 256 or 257, something like that. You should use always the value between 0 to 255 only. Okay. So here, so any by seeing the starting number, okay, by seeing that starting number, you can decide whether it is a private IP or public IP. Okay. So, and one more thing, you can divide your IP addresses into multiple classes also, like class A, class B, class C, something like that. They have created five different classes. Each has some range actually, but it doesn't require for us. So class A is nothing but which is starting from 0 and which will ends with I think 127. Yeah. So any IP which is started from 0 and which ends with 127, that you can call it as class A. And any server which is starting from 128 to next one 191. So that you can call it as you can get the details in the internet also. Just you can type IP address classes, you can get that values. So like that 192 to 223, that you can call it as class C. Then class D, class E is there. So these all are called public IP addresses, which are belongs to these things. So these all are called public IP. So then what is meant by private IP? Private IP is nothing but, so in class A, class B, class C, among class A, one particular series that is called 10 series. Any IP which is starting with 10. So here actually I'm using 0 to 127, but inside this one, it is excluding one value that is called 10. Exclude 10. Only 10 value is not added. Okay. So any IP which is starting with 10, so 10 dot x dot x dot x means here whatever the value you can use. But if it is started with 10, that is called the private IP. But other than that, either it is started with 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 up to 9, and then 11, 12, 13, and so on up to 127, whatever it may be, that are belongs to public IP. So, but if it is a 10, then this is belongs to private IP. Similarly, in the next one, 128 to 191, I think there is a one range. Classes, IP address, public versus private. If you type something like this, where you can get some document which will display. It doesn't require that you have to buy hard this. You can get all these things in the internet. Just you have to know what is private and what is public. Yep, it is not there. Difference. Yeah, let me open this one. See, these are the private IP range. So inside class A, 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255 means that all the 10 series, okay, starting from 0 to, so which ends with 255, you can see. So any IP which is starting with 10, you can consider that as a private IP. Means that the same IP I may get, and some other company, if they are using a server, they may get that one. So that will work within their network only. Okay. Similarly, in class B, 172.16 to 172.31. So means that 172.15, if it is there, that is not a private IP. That is a public IP only. Other than these three ranges, just you can remember these three. So other than this, whatever you will get, that is nothing but a public IP. Okay, this is how you have to remember. And suppose class C 192.168 to 192.168. Only if it is started with 192.168, that is nothing but the class C. Suppose if it is starting with 192, but if it is not 168, 192.167 is there, then that is a public IP. Okay, this is the private IP range. Just if you remember this private IP, other than this, whatever the IP that you will get, that is called the public IP. So, which is called 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255 in class A. Similarly, in class B, in class C, something like that, you can remember some values. Okay. So now, whenever my server is created, means the private IP, see, which will always starts with either 172 or 10 or whatever the value they have defined. The public IP will get some different thing. So if you stop and start this server, let's say I can go to, I have selected my server, I can go to the actions, sorry, instance state, I can stop my server, I can reboot my server, I can completely delete my server, which is called terminate server. So that my server public IP will get changed. Always the public IP will get changed, but the private IP will not get changed. Okay. And now how I can able to log into the server and how I can able to see these things. So before going to that one, let me create one Windows server also. I'll try to log into the Linux after some time, but let me go to my one. I'm just creating one more server. So this time I want to create a Windows server. See, let's say Windows, Microsoft Windows Server 2019 is there. So let me select that one. And let's select the instance type t2.micro is sufficient for me. Let's click on next. Third step, I'm fine with that. I don't want to change any details. Let's click on next. Fourth step, you can see the storage. By default, I already told you, for Linux 8 GB will be storage, and for Windows 30 GB is the storage. If you want to increase this one, or you can add some additional volumes if you want. I don't want that. So just click on next, and you can add some names, which is called. So I'm just going to create a Windows server. So let me click on next. And in the security group, I'm just going to create a new security group, which is called, let's say, Windows security group, Windows SZ, batch 11D Windows security group. Let me copy that and just provide the same description. Or if you want to use the existing one, if you select this one where you can filter the earlier I created a security group, right? So, but that is belongs to Linux. and this is belongs to Windows. Means Linux, they have open 22 port number, but Windows, if you want to connect to your server, so this RDP is nothing but remote desktop protocol. This port needs to be open. See, for Linux, 22 port number is required, but Windows RDP 3389, this port needs to be opened for login to your Windows server. Windows server login. Okay, so I'm just proceeding with this one. Okay, I'm not deleting and again adding later. Just I'm proceeding with same one. Just click on next, and you can review the details. If you are okay with that, just click on launch, and here you can select the key pair. Just you can use the same key pair for either it is Linux or Windows. So let's select the checkbox and click on launch instance. Now one Windows server is going to bring it up. So now total I have two servers, one Linux server and one Windows server in my account. You can see. So my Linux server is already in running state, but my Windows server is in pending state because just now we created, it will take some time to come to running state. Now we will see how to connect to them. Okay. So for Windows server, if you want to connect, first time I'll show Windows server. So let's select this Windows server, and there is a just wait for 1 more minute so that it will comes to running state. You can refresh this one if you want to see whether it is updated or not. It will take at least 1 minute of time to comes to running state. Yeah, now it is running state, right? Let's select Windows Server, and there is a connect button is there, right? Let's click on the connect button, and I want to connect via this one. Select the RDP client, and there is a download remote desktop file is there, right? Let's select that one. One RDP file is downloaded that we need to connect to your Windows Server. So Putty, how we have downloaded to connect to our Linux server. Similarly for Windows, if you want to connect, so this RDP is required. So that you have to download. And this is the username. So for Windows, actually, we will get some username and password where you have to provide. This is my Windows username. And we need to get a password over here. We have to use that username and password. But if you click on get password, the password will not be available. At least for 4 minutes, it will not be available. Okay. So that's why I'll wait for some time. So I'll come back to Windows Server. Okay, just I want to show that option. Immediately the password is not available. That's why I want to just connect to that Windows first. Okay, so Windows will take at least some 4 minutes of time to generate that password, to show that option to generate the password. So now I'll connect to my Linux server. In order to connect to your Linux server, so just open your putty, and here you can provide your username at the rate IP address. So what is the username of my Linux server? I have selected the Ubuntu operating system, right? By default, the Ubuntu operating system has the default username is Ubuntu. Okay, Ubuntu at the rate, username at the rate, the public IP you can use. Username at the rate public IP. And the port number I'm trying to connect is 22 port number. But this particular port we have not opened inside the security group. Suppose let's say I'm selecting my server. If you go to the security of that one, which is selected earlier, so you have not, this is the security group which is attached to that particular server. If I open in one more window, it will take you to the security groups page, and in that security group batch 11D Linux security group, there is inbound rules and outbound rules are there. Inbound rules, there is nothing, just we deleted that inbound rules, it is not connected anything. So how I can show that? Yeah, see, there is no inbound rules are there, but if you select outbound, there is one rule will be automatically added, that is called all traffic that you can connect to outside world. So outbound rule is nothing but from my server to outside where I can connect. So inbound rule is nothing but outside people who can able to connect to my server. Okay. So currently, it is not allowed my IP also. So via putty, I can't able to log in. First, I'll try whether what error it will show and all. Later, I'll add that rule. Okay. So once you provided your username at the rate, the public IP of the server and the port number 22, just you can select the plus symbol in front of this SSH. Okay, and then you can select this auth symbol, authentication. So then it will provide the option to select your private key file. Okay, this one here, you can browse this one. so that you can select your private key which you have provided while creating the server, which key you have used. Let me go to the download. This batch 11D key pair I have used. You have to select that batch 11D key. See here, it is opened a black terminal, but it will not give any response. Why? Because it is not allowed to connect to your server. So until or unless if you added this rule, so you can't able to connect to the server. You will not get any response. So let me try to see, you will get some error saying that network error, connection timed out. So now let me close this window. I just add that rule, okay, inbound rule, add rule. Here you can call that as SSH rule I am adding, 22 port number. Here you can add only your laptop IP if you want to connect my IP, or if you want to connect, if you want to provide all the access so that you can provide 0.0.0, so that everyone, if they have that key pair, so that they can able to connect. Okay. So for now, I'm just proceeding with my IP so that I can able to log in. Let's click on save the rule. So now in my security group, the inbound rule allowed my laptop IP. Let's say this is my laptop IP, which is open the 22 port to connect so that I can able to connect. So let me open the putty once again. So here the username same I am using Ubuntu at the rate. What is my public IP of the server? Let me go to detail section of that server, Linux server, and copy this public IP and provide that IP over here. So same username, IP address, 22 port number. Just I'm going to select my key pair. Just click on the plus symbol in front of the SSH and then select the auth symbol. And here you can browse the key pair batch 11D and click on open and click on open. Now you can see this time it will connect. Click on accept. This time it will use that Ubuntu username and it will be connected to your server. This is my private IP address of the server. You can see 172.31.85.158. The same thing will get displayed inside that one. Okay. So this is how like you can able to connect to your server. So later on, so what commands we will use inside Linux and all, maybe if it is possible, we will spend one day completely. If you want to see what is my current path, or if I want to create a new file, or if you want to see the list of the files which are available inside that. So Linux, everything we will work on this black terminal only. We don't have any UI inside the Linux servers of the Amazon. We will not get any UI. Suppose in your laptop, if you are installing the Ubuntu server or any other server, you have UI and where you can work with this command prompt also. But in AWS Linux servers, we have to work with this black terminal only. Okay, this is about my Linux server, how I can create and how I can connect to that server. So now let's see how I can connect my Windows server. Let me select my Windows. Let's go to the connect button and just click on the RDP client. Here, I already downloaded this file. Okay, don't download again and again. We already downloaded. So let's click on the get password. This time, it will ask you to provide your key pair. Earlier, it is shown that you need to wait for 4 minutes kind of thing. But now, after some time, it will show that you have to provide that key pair to generate the password. So if you have this password, sorry, if you have this key pair, private key, then only you can provide this key. Let me click on browse, go to downloads, and in my downloads I have that. Okay, and one more thing I have to do. I selected the batch 11D, right? That batch 11D is currently in the .ppk file. Okay, see, you can see the format of the file which is .ppk. But here we have to select the .pem file. It won't take the .ppk file. So in order to convert .pem file to .ppk or .ppk file to .pem file, so there is a software which is called Puttigen. I think which is already downloaded. Puttigen. So where you can able to convert that one from .pem file to .ppk. So let me open that file. So you can download the Puttigen also same portal like earlier where we downloaded that putty, right? Suppose if you want to download that Puttigen. So let's select putty download only. Select the first link and inside that select this download putty here and here. So putty you can download from here. This is the putty.exe file where you can download any one of the link which is belongs to your operating system or the type of your laptop. So Puttigen you can download from here. See puttigen.exe. So here you can download that one. We need RSA key. So let's select anyone. So currently I am using 64-bit. I have clicked on this one and I downloaded that Puttigen. So now I have opened my Puttigen. I think with this you can download. Or initially we can able to while creating the key pair itself, you can download the .pem file if you want. Okay. So now let's go to the conversion button. Let's select import, and I want to select my downloads and let's select this bash 11d. So here I want to save my private key. I want to convert my private key, save my private key. I don't want to provide any password, extra password. If you want, you can provide some password over here, some password and confirm password, but I don't want. Let's select yes. And here under downloads only, I am just going to save my password. Let's say bash 11d dot pem file. So I have saved my password. Let me close that one. And now I'll try to provide the .pem file which is downloaded. I think it may not work. Okay, some extra dot is added. Let me use the Puttigen once again. Let me select the Puttigen once again. Go to conversions, import the key, which is one you want to convert. Let's say under downloads, batch 11d.ppk I want, right? Let's select that one. And this .ppk file, I want to, let's say, save the private key. And while saving, you have to provide that key path which you want. Let's say batch under downloads only, batch 11d.pem file. Why it is added extra? Otherwise, let's do one thing. If we are not able to convert this with the help of this one, let me try to create some new key pair for my Windows server instead of converting.
Yeah, seems it is sorry, seems it is creating same ppk file, .ppk extension.
Yeah, it's not great. Actually, what I'll do earlier, like while discussing AWS, I'll create .ppk file. Initially, while creating the key pair itself, I'll create .ppk. So sorry, not the .ppk, .pem file I'll download first. So the Puttigen we can able to convert .pem file to .ppk. I think the reverse it may not convert. I haven't tried that part. But if you downloaded .pem file initially, so we can able to convert .pem to .ppk with the help of Puttigen. So anyway, let me try to. We may not log into this one if you don't have the respective key. So let me terminate that Windows server and I'll quickly create one more server, one more Windows server. While creating, I'll set up some new key. While creating the server, I'm just create some new key. Let me try that. So here, if you don't want to select all the details, let's say instance type, configure instance, all these details, if you don't want to select, so directly there is an option called review on launch instead of going next, next, next. So quickly, if you want to create a server, just click on review and launch. It will take you to the last stage. Remaining details, some default values it will select. So just click on launch. And here I want to create a new key pair. The key pair name will be, let's say, Windows or something name I am providing. Just click on download key pair. It will download a key pair first initially whenever you are downloading from here, I'll get .pem file. Okay. But while creating the key pair, you have the flexibility whether you can download .pem or .ppk. That's up to you. So now I already downloaded this one. Let me click on launch instances. So it will take 4 minutes of time to allow you to generate some password to your Windows. Okay, we'll wait for some time. So this is my new instance. This is my old Windows instance which I have created. Let me save this. I'm just adding some new name over here. Within 5 minutes we will close actually. We are already completed our time. We will show this one just how to log into Windows. Tomorrow we can start working with these services. So now my Windows server is running state. Let's try to connect to that one. We'll see whether the password is generated or not. It doesn't require to download RDP again and again. We already downloaded. So by default, all the Windows servers which you are creating, so default username is administrator only. Okay. So the password only will change. Let me select get password. It will take some time to generate that password. Meanwhile, just we'll try to clean up the resources which we have created. Okay. Suppose let's say the Linux server I don't want. So how to delete that server? So you can go to this instance. You can select that instance which you want to delete. Go to instance state and you can terminate the instance. So once you terminate the instance, so it will go to the terminated state, but it will not disappear from this console. It will take some time completely to disappear from this console. But once it is terminated, there is no use. Actually, you can't able to connect to that server at all. Okay, see, this is shutting down. It will take some time to go to terminated state. Once it is terminated, we can't able to connect to that server. And similarly, we created some resources in IAM. So let me delete those also. I don't want to keep the resources. So once you're done practice, better you can clean up the resources. Maybe tomorrow, if you require, you can create the resources again. Don't keep the resources in long run, just to avoid some billing and all. You don't want to get any billing. For that purpose, just clean up the resources once you are done practice. So the user we have created and I am deleting that. Rest of the details it doesn't require. I don't have created any groups actually. If you created any such, just delete all those things. Now let me go to my EC2 and then there are some old key pairs which I have created, right? I don't want to keep all those things. Let me delete those two, batch 11A and test. So these two things are required for us. Let me keep those. Remaining things you can delete. So just to log into your Windows, we created this Windows key pair, but tomorrow onwards, daily we will log in or we will use this batch 11D only. So let me go to my instances and let's select your Windows and let's verify whether your key is available or not. Let me go to my RDP client. Yes. Now it is providing the option to select your key, right? So this is the key pair which is associated with your instance. Let's browse and select that .pem file. See, now if it is a .pem file, by default it is expecting that format. So that's why it is displaying. Earlier it is not displaying anything. So now click on open. So the respective content of that file will be displayed over here. And click on decrypt password. It will generate some password. If you provided correct key pair, correct private key, then only it will show this password. Otherwise it won't. So the password I'm just going to copy. This is my username of my Windows laptop and this is my password. This is my username. Now I have my username of password, right? How can I connect my Windows server? Just open the RDP file which you have downloaded. So where it will provide the options to set your password, username and password. Remote desktop file can't connect to the remote computer to one of the remote desktop access to the phone not enabled. Remote computer is turned off. Remote computer is not available. Okay, let me go and verify. Is there any security group? We already opened, I think, for Windows. Let me verify whether my security group it is added that RDP port number or not. RDP 3389 it is open for all everyone. So everyone means it is automatically added my IP also, and then it should connect. Maybe in my laptop some settings and all may be changed because I have recently changed my operating system completely. I changed my hard disk yesterday. Maybe something. Make sure remote computer is turned on. It is already turned on.
That file is common for all the Windows instances, or it will be
No, it is common for every. Let
okay.
me try. Okay, maybe I think it will be common. Let me try to download if you want. This is the old one. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Actually, we have to download the separate file because it is we are not providing the username and the IP address of the server. Okay, suppose if it is a Linux where we are providing the IP address, username, and all, but Windows where we are not providing any IP address, right? Just we are using that RDP file means so we are not providing any IP address. So means it is linked with that IP address.
Yeah,
This is
since
the
it is associated with that instance ID.
yeah, domain name or the IP address. So the username it is not providing. So it is automatically providing. It doesn't require that we have to separately provide. Just we have to copy the password, whichever we have saved earlier. Let me- So once I provided the proper username and password, so it will just connect to my Windows laptop, which I have created on AWS account. It will connect to that server. Windows is somewhat slow and it is costly actually when compared with the Linux servers. So that's why most of the companies they will hesitate to use Windows. Only some Microsoft related companies, and if they can't able to achieve their use case in the Linux operating systems, they will prefer Windows at that time. Otherwise, most of the companies they will prefer to use Linux operating systems only. And inside Linux, also some companies they will prefer to use the open operating systems, kind of Ubuntu and all. Suppose because Ubuntu and all, it doesn't require that we have to pay any additional license cost and all. But if you are using some Red Hat and all, we have to pay some license cost. And in Windows also, additional to along with this normal EC2 server cost, how we are paying to Amazon, so we have to pay some extra additional license cost to the Microsoft because Windows is owned by Microsoft, right? Some additional license cost also will be added. So that's why Windows servers is somewhat costly when compared with the Linux servers. So we are going to uh, deploy our applications and all more related to the Linux operating systems only, okay, in our course. So, but this is how the Windows server will get created and where you can able to, if you want to see the file explorer of that particular server, you can see that total size, how the disk, see total 30 GB. Because while creating my server, I have selected my space as 30 GB something, right? So among the 30 GB, currently 13 GB is free, remaining thing it is filled with the operating system of that Windows and all. Okay, so this is how the Windows server you can able to create and you can able to connect to that server. So here you can see some information which is related to the server. What is my private IP, public IP, and the size of the server, and which data center or availability zone my server is created. All those details here it is displayed, and the RAM or memory, how much it is, 1 GB or 1 GB RAM, 1024 MB of memory that is allocated for my server. So if you want to just work with that Windows which is created on my Amazon, this is how just you can create, and then you can start working with that. So if you want to close that one, just you can select this disconnect instead of shutdown. Just you can disconnect. Then it will take you to our normal server, and then you can terminate that instance from the EC2 console itself. Okay, let me go to my EC2 console. So let me select my Windows server, and from here you can terminate it. Okay, so if you start your server, you can able to start at any time. Okay, so maybe tomorrow I want to connect my Windows server again. Maybe you can stop and you can connect to once again. You can start the server tomorrow. But if you don't want to keep that, then you can terminate that one. Terminate is nothing but kind of shutdown. Okay, where it will go to shutting down, and after some time it will show the server status as terminated. Once it is terminated, we can't able to log into that server at all. So from this console, it will disappear after some time. Okay, this is how EC2 service, inside the EC2 service, the instances concept, where we can able to create some instances, and then we will see by using putty and by using RDP, we are going to connect either Windows or Linux servers. Tomorrow, maybe we will spend some more details inside Linux, let's say some basic Linux commands which are required, all those things, and one other S3 service that we are going to use in DevOps course. Maybe that S3 service also we will try to cover in tomorrow class. So with tomorrow, just we'll complete our prerequisites, and day after tomorrow we will start our first service in DevOps course. Okay. So with that, we'll stop our today's session. Any doubts till now? Feel free to ask me. I don't see any questions in the chat window or any doubts. Okay, if you have no doubts, so we will ramp up our call tomorrow. By 1 or 2 hours, I'll upload this video to the Google Drive. Uh, I'll share that recording with you, so that if anyone missed some part, or if you want to listen one more time, just you can download and you can revisit that. Okay, I'll share the tomorrow class link. Tomorrow we'll meet at 6:30 again. Thank you, guys. If you have any other questions, ping me on WhatsApp. While practicing, if you got some doubt, ping me on WhatsApp. I'll help you. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'll be closing the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Fadi.
Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.